Welcome to Bleav In 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Teja Dash. Bleav In 76ers is presented by BetOnline.AG.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BLEAV, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, the game starts here. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bleav In 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash here with legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow and my brother Teja Dash. Guys, we did it. We thought we couldn't do it. We thought it wasn't going to happen. We thought Philadelphia doesn't get the big stars. They don't come. They don't sign in free agency. There's only be a trade. But no, Daryl Morey did, and I think Daryl Morey, we're going to give him a lot of kudos this episode for landing his target. So, yeah, this is a big time here, guys. We're going to get into the free agency, the beginning of it, the guys we've signed. But just before we begin, I was curious, how surprised were you when the reports came flooding in on Saturday and Sunday that the Sixers were the top team to get Paul George? How surprised were you guys?
Well, I was initially. Remember, I was one that, it's hard to get free agents in Philly, and I still think it is. I think it's kind of double-edged sword for me, because where I'm excited for us to get a guy like Paul, I still feel like it's the contract is the reason why we got him. Is because the Clippers decided not to offer him the money or the long-term deal more than he just came to us. You know what I'm saying? Like, same deal, he picks us. It's almost like he picked us because of, and I don't want to be the bad guy about this. I'm still excited. But I'm just saying I still kind of have that feel. Yeah. Like a part of me still feel like, but that being said, in order for us to kind of take the next step, I guess this is what was necessary for it to happen. If things don't pan out, we all have a concern about the end of the contract. Things don't pan out at the end, you can, maybe that's a contract you can always move. I think, the way the league is going, it's hard to say that salary may not be very high as far as the top players in maybe in 4 years. But he puts him in. If you put him in a situation where you feel like on most days Paul George is your third best player, I think you can say that you give yourselves a good chance to win some games.
Yeah. Surprise a week ago, yeah, or more than a week ago, but yeah, I mean, on Saturday it was trending that way, right? Because Clippers weren't backing off. They weren't backing down what they were offering.
In all honesty, I didn't really want to jinx it or anything like that, but I did feel that the Clippers weren't going to go past what Kawhi got. I was firm. I was firm of that. They wouldn't go past either it higher in number or years past Kawhi. And I just wasn't sure how serious Paul was about that fourth year. That was my real concern.
Yeah.
How important that fourth year was to him. And I guess now we know.
Yeah. I said this for a while on Twitter. I feel like it was a perfect storm for all this to happen. We're just going to get into like all our feelings about this. I think it was a really big perfect storm in general, because Kawhi's contract getting signed so early, and the whole, as we figured out now, the disrespect that George felt because he found out about it when they broke the story. Like, no one called him, no one told him it was happening. That was one step of him being like, okay, that's a little weird, right? So that alone right there, I feel like as a player, anyone really, when your coworker gets a contract that you don't get and you weren't even told about, that starts the wheels turning in your head, right? Right there, whether you want to admit it or not, you're already start thinking about, man, am I going to be here next year? Like, well, that's a weird thing. Well, what's going on? It already questions and puts doubt in your head. I feel like that helped him get used to the idea and get comfortable with the idea of not being in California for the end of his career. Like from right there, you start thinking of a lot of different ways you can go. Like a choose your own adventure book. Like who's got money? Who's got this? Who's got that? Who can sign me this offseason? And you start thinking about, and he gets comfortable after a while being like, would it be that bad? You start talking to your family about it. Like, hey, that whole Kawhi thing was weird. Like, what if I didn't play here? What would you guys think about that? Well, I mean, shit. Like if they don't give you the money or they don't give you the offer, they don't give you the years, go ahead. Like it's only a couple of years. Who cares? I mean, you come back and you retire here in 3-4 years. Like you get one extra year, $50 million? Yeah, dude, go do it. Don't stay here for us, honey. Like you get all those conversations out of the way. Months and months and months go by. A bad playoff happens. A bad stretch happens. Kawhi's not around for the playoffs. All these things just kept happening and happening and happening in our favor, like left and right. And then in the end, it was after all this, I will stay with you guys. Just give me that extra year. We won't do it. We think you'll stay. You want California that bad. Oh, really? Well, I've had 5 months to like ponder this, and I'm okay with it now. I'll go. Right? I know Joel. Joel's a cool dude. Philly's trying to win. I don't care what James told me about Morey anymore. They got that check with my name on it already signed. So he's not lying to me. He's giving me that 212 on a silver platter. So he might have lied to you, but to me, he's pulling out the pocketbook. So
I mean, the contract serves it all. So I mean, you put the money in, you sign that contract or you offer that contract. A lot of things can be forgiven.
Yeah. And to a certain degree, do you feel, Eric, that like after all the bad press Morey got with Harden, with other players, this kind of like not takes it away, but like evens it out a little bit? Okay, he's not totally full of shit. Like when he wants a guy, he'll pay a guy, right?
No, I mean, I don't. I don't, but I can see how people can feel that way. I don't feel that way. I totally feel that Paul came because they offered him the most money, number one, in the most years. And it's a team that with Joel and Maxey, he feels like he can compete for a championship. That's why he did it. I think
so. You think even with that money, you still don't trust Morey?
I'd say that the Daryl Morey part could be maybe fourth. I would say playing for Nurse more than coming from with Morey. I'm not trying to knock Morey Daryl for this. I'm just saying I don't think that's a reason why he came. I don't think that's high on the list.
Oh no. I'm saying, do you think it's like the whole after all the hard nonsense? Like
no,
all
I
this being
do.
To you.
I do not, because it's still a perspective from multiple players that you still can't change how those guys feel because you made a move. This isn't the first time Daryl Morey has made a great move. I mean, he did trade for James Harden.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he has made great moves before. So I don't think that perspective is going to change because that's those guys' perspective. And I don't think they're moving off of it. So
not them,
but I'm also
perception.
But I'm also I'm also a realist, and I think that it's a situation where whatever's in the moment, if the Sixers are rolling, well, it just won't be talked about. But if the Sixers aren't rolling, then it's going to come back up.
Yeah.
So I think depending on how we do, things will surface like they always do.
I gotta say too, if you're gonna revisit things that have happened in the past like year with all the Harden stuff, it's pretty crazy if you think about it. We trade Harden because remember last year the rumors were we wanted George and like everyone laughed at us like Harden for George. Yeah, right. So we traded Harden to the team, got 2 picks from that team. The player that we actually wanted in that deal got pissed off with the same management group. They paid Harden instead. I mean, they wanted to pay both of them, but Harden was cheaper in the end. So they went with the easy answer there. and that guy comes to us in the end. It's a crazy world, man. It's a crazy business how that worked out. Most basketball
James, what James can say, well, if you just gave me the money to act for it, then I could have stayed and we would have never went here. That's what I'm saying, depending on who you asking.
Yeah. But in the end, he accepted way less than what he wanted from us. So in the end, it's like, well, it's weird turnaround in general.
But from his perspective, he's probably living in LA.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all plays itself out, man. At the end of the day, I think the justification for this contract is going to come down to: are we going to be able to accomplish what we haven't been able to accomplish the last few years? And that's to get past the second round, win the Eastern Conference, get to the finals, win the NBA Finals. That's what it's going to be about. And if that doesn't happen, and in most ways or in some ways, the contract will be frowned upon.
Yeah,
not just Paul. I'm just saying the move in general, because the move is supposed to solidify that right there. That's what it's supposed to solidify.
Well, like we were saying last week, right? Like, you got to make the move. Like, if it works or it doesn't work, okay. Like, but you got to make the move and let the cards play, right? But making the moves first, and don't be shy about making. Yeah. So, like, it was the right move. I'm not saying it's not. I know there's a lot of chatter about the money, but you want to try to entice a California native to leave California, you got to pay.
Yeah, I think it's the extra year. I think that's what it's about. A guy being 38, going on 39 in that last year and making that, unless you're doing what unless he's able to do what LeBron James does at that age. I don't think there'll be many complaints, but it's not a lot of LeBron James walking around here doing that.
I'll finish up and then I'll ask you a question I want to ask about that actually. But so the last year, in my opinion, I think people are making a huge deal, and it is a big deal, right? He's 38. You're going to be paying him $55 million or whatever he's going to make that last year. I mean, nowadays with a cap relief, you might be able to trade him that last year to a team that wants to just, clear cap. Okay, first of all. So, I mean, that does happen a lot. If we have to, we can attach one of the 5 firsts we have around that time anyway. Second point, cap's exploding 10%. It's supposed to explode over 10% every year for the next 5 or 6 years with these new TV deals happening. So his contract's only going up 5% a year. So when he's making $56 million in 2028, our cap's going to be the NBA salary cap's going to be $205 million. So it seems rough now looking into the future, but in that future, it won't be as bad. That's going to be some guy's opening year contract number at that time. Like, guys are going to be making that in their first year after signing the ink. So,
I understand what you're saying, but at the end of the day, you still going to have 3 guys that's taking up, 70% of your cap?
50? No. Well, maybe. I don't know. I don't think so. No, I don't. No, yeah, we're close. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be around that. Definitely around 70%.
It would be. I'll go to it right now.
It's a lot.
So 205 would be the cap number. Joel's not on the books for that time, so I guess we'll see what he signs for. Maxey and
that's my point. So you got to realize if Joel is coming back, right, he'll be at 60 minimum.
Yeah.
Because that's wherever Tatum is, he'll be there. He may not get the number that's 5 years, but per year he'll be there. If this thing works, if it works.
Unless this is a topic for 3 years down the road doing our shows. Unless we're really close, his contract comes up and they're like, Joel, would you take 5 or 10 less to squeeze this guy under our cap? Lifetime Philly guy, is he going to want to leave over $5-10 million?
What I'm saying is he's not taking less for it not to be used. He's taking less for someone to get it. So it's still going to be used.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So
I
then
agree
there's, then you put 4 people making 80% there.
Yeah, that's true. I'd rather that than 3 guys making 70, though, right?
But I get what you're saying.
If there's one guy
but
you want,
that's where we're headed, though.
I mean, Joel after 15 years.
You look at you look at Boston's cap, for instance. Look at their cap is their starting 5.
Oh yeah. It's incredible.
That's where we're headed. That's where we're headed. But we're going to be 3 or 4.
So Maxey and George that year will be $100 million between them.
And Joel will be 60. And you said it would be 205.
205, yeah. Unless they can figure something out there. But I will say, there's one guy you want to have the conversation with after 13 years in Philadelphia, it's Joel at that point.
Yes.
But yeah.
So we got to assume that we're assuming that the Paul experience works, which means if it's the only way it's really going to work is for Joel to work. And if Joel was working, he's going to get paid.
Yep.
Yeah.
I gotta say, kudos to you, Eric, because 2 weeks ago when that reports came out that the Sixers waned interest on Paul George, you said it was all fluff reporting and you didn't believe any of it, and look what happened.
Yeah. Also,
it was fluff.
The point I was making before with the cap raising more than these guys' salary, this year those 3 guys account for 80% of our cap. In 27-28, they'll account for like 60, 65 or 70% of our cap. So it does start to clear up a little more because of how much the cap's going to go up, is what I was trying to say earlier.
But I mean, I really don't know how you can say that, because if Joel was free, he's going to hit a lot more. That's what I'm saying. Like, we really don't know what his cap is going to be. The higher the cap is, the higher he is.
His first year be 60, right? So 160.
No, I'm saying the minimum is going to be 60.
Close. Yeah. Unless
Tatum is what? Isn't Tatum 60 right now?
Yeah.
I'm saying, but Tatum is 60 right now, right?
Yep.
Tatum,
right now.
50, the next year, 54. Tatum doesn't hit 60 until 27-28.
Right now.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying per year on average for the whole contract.
Oh, I thought you meant his actual cap number.
His actual average for his contract.
Oh, the average over duration?
5 years, 310.
Yes. 60.
Yeah,
62. Yeah, average. Okay,
62.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's what I'm saying. So that's a contract, the average of a contract this year is 60 of a guy that most people don't think is on Joel's level.
Yeah,
even though
like
he's
70,
really good.
It'll be like 70 plus then.
You know what I'm saying? Even he's really good. He's a champion, but people don't consider him to be the elite or MVP. You know what I'm saying? They don't consider him to be like that.
Yeah.
And he has 62 per. Okay, Joel probably be at 70. I'm sorry, I said 60. Yeah. He'll probably be at 70.
70, which means like his number will be like 64 that year. Yeah. Well, I mean, he put his chips in.
Only in America,
chips are in.
Boy. Blessings.
The
league got to expand, and they got to open up. The league got to expand, and they got to open up them rosters, man.
Yeah,
got to start hiring some more people, man.
Actually, that's a good question I want to talk to you about too. Okay, well, the first question I wanted to ask you from before that I just remembered is, how do you see Paul George with his skill set, his size, everything encompassed? How do you see him aging?
3-point shooter that can ISO, post up, or isolation one-on-one against matchups, chasing matchups, being more effective because he won't have as many double teams. He won't see as much of a crowd. But he's going to have to be a consistent catch and shoot guy.
Yeah.
That's going to have to be consistent. Because I don't think he's going to be able to get it all ISOs. I think he's going to be a situational ISO guy. But he has to give us 18. I mean, he got to give us 20 points a game. Like, I don't know no other way to look at it. I mean, if he's giving us anything less than that, I mean, what are we talking about?
Yeah, unless it's incredibly efficient. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if he's incredibly efficient, then he should definitely give us 20 a game.
Well, that means Joel's numbers got to come down too then, and Maxi's probably a little bit, right?
Why do they have to come down?
Otherwise, no one's getting any shots except for these three dudes.
Oh, we paid them for other people to
No. No, I'm just saying, like, they can, but I mean, you could the rest of the team will have like average like 10 points total.
I'm confused. Like Porus? That's not the expectation.
What? Say it again. You broke him in the beginning.
So we gave a guy $200 million for 4 years at 34. We not expecting him to score 20 points?
No, I expect him to score 20 points. I just say I hope it's efficient.
Oh, yes. Okay. So that's what I'm saying.
I said Joel's.
So what are we saying? Why Joel's numbers got to go down for him to average 20?
Because Joel averaged a lot with our third scorer last year, shooting the ball like 8 times a game. And Tobias
those shots gonna have to come from somewhere else, not from Joel.
That's why I said the rest of the team will average like 10 points a game then. And that's fine.
The rest of the team got to be more efficient. Then. The rest of the team got to be more efficient.
Which is a good segue.
You get 3 or 4 shots, then shoot your high percentage on those 3 or 4 shots.
They're going to be wide open. Like everyone else is going to be wide open now.
I mean, Paul George ain't come to Philly. Paul George ain't come to Philly, in my opinion, for 4 years and what he got to average 15, 16 points.
That's a huge failure if he does.
They just criticize the guy for not doing that, for doing that.
Yep.
For the last 4 years.
Yeah. He's got to be 20 plus.
Yeah. You can't just stand on the corner the entire game. It's not going to happen.
Especially while he still has a lot of those ISO skills in him. Like, use it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, go out there and use it while you still got that ability.
Yeah.
On top of the other things, I don't want to, take away from. All right. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
So obviously Paul George headlined free agency for us. But the other guys, obviously we brought in Andre Drummond, which everyone was happy about that. We almost acquired him at the trade deadline. I think we almost traded like 5 second-round picks to get him from Chicago. They declined it, but he ended up coming back in the offseason. Then we brought in Eric Gordon and re-signed Kelly Oubre and Tyrese Maxey. Just what are your general thoughts on the other additions outside of Paul George?
I think they're serviceable, especially Drummond. I mean, that's a need we've been talking about. He was successful with it before, and now he's back. So I think that he'll be successful in his role, especially when the times when Joel doesn't play. I think now you can be a little more restrictive on his play because you have Drummond. So I think that's a huge plus. The other guys are serviceable role guys that compete, play hard. I think they've been good at their roles in the past, and so it feels good. It feels good to kind of see pieces come together. Obviously, we need more, but it still feels good to have the pieces that we have because I think they can all play a role to help us keep moving forward.
Yeah. Love the Gordon signing. I think he's pretty much like the healed replacement for just an old vet min, which is great. Love the Oubre re-signing. I think he just fit in so well. I think Nurse brought out the best of him. I think he had a great time. You can just tell he had a really good time playing here, right? He maybe could have chased money elsewhere. I didn't hear about his market particularly, but I think he said it too after the season, right? I want to go somewhere where I'm wanted, in a place I feel comfortable, and I think it hit it on the head here. I think he really found his place here. And Drummond, I mean, I don't think anybody's making a big enough deal about it because everyone kind of expected us to go after him. So no one's kind of like, it's not like a surprise. I think if we never had Drummond and we got him, we would be like jumping for joy everywhere, right? I mean, think about it. We missed out on the 2 seed by like what, 4 games? If you put Drummond on our team last year, Eric, do we probably have the 2 seed locked up?
Yeah, it improves. I mean, because that time that Joel missed, you can say we win some of those games. We win quite a few of those games.
Yeah, at least like 3.
So yeah, it does. That's what I'm saying. It does matter. It does matter, and I believe that this year the top of the race or the middle of the pack will be even tighter.
Yeah. It's just, yeah, I mean, I'm considering that Joel missed 43 games and we were like 3-4 games away from jumping up the standings, right, and being the 2 seed. It's just crazy to think that, and that's Drummond away from that. What we've done already is just some monumental upgrades all over the floor, and there's a lot to be done, but great start. It's a great start.
You guys giving Morey an A so far, or you guys still want to wait till the roster's filled out before you give him a letter grade?
I mean, I think you can give him an A for getting a guy like Paul George. But like I said, I think the grade is ultimately going to come down to what the team does. Yeah. And that could be on Daryl, that could be on Nurse. But I think at the end of the day, where we are right now, it's everything is all good, but the objective is still there. Is this team with all these changes in this new direction, are you going to be able to get over the hump that you haven't been able to get over the last 2 years? Yeah. So I think, it's an A for the first quarter of the school year, but you still going to need the grade. You still going to need that report card at the end of the year.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it's not even the first quarter. It's more like a progress report your first month in the first quarter.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you got that
first
early quarter. You got them good grades, so you can coast a little bit the rest of the quarter. But hey man, you still got a lot of work to do.
Yep. Yeah, I'll give him an A so far though.
Still got a lot of work to do the rest of the school year.
So both you guys A so far. All right.
Yeah, I'd give him an A so far. That's fair.
And I love the story too about how everything, the flight was delayed and they ended up going there, showing up to his place in Los Angeles, and he's wearing the Allen Iverson t-shirt. I think it's pretty cool how that whole thing kind of mapped out last weekend. But yeah. All right, so we're gonna go to the next topic here, which is talking about rounding out the roster, which we're gonna let me put it up here. Okay, so as of right now, that's our current roster, and there's a lot of rumors as to who the Sixers are interested in. Namely, the 2 guys the Sixers are interested in right now is Haywood Highsmith and Caleb Martin out of Miami. But overall, there seems to be a lot of talent out there because the money has more or less dried up around the league. The Sixers could still make a trade to maneuver around the cap, or if they waive Paul Reed, they would have about $9 million to spend on free agents. But right now, that's the current roster as it stands. Maxey, McCain, Oubre, Eric Gordon, Ricky Council, Paul George, Joel Embiid, Andre Drummond, Dembona, and Paul Reed. But I have an asterisk there just because he might be traded or waived to make more room for the incoming guys. But I just want to ask you guys, based on the current roster, what positions, skill sets, or players would you be targeting from this pool that we have right here of free agents?
I mean, a guy like Miles Bridges would be great. I just don't think that's realistic right now.
Yeah.
Tyus Jones will be excellent.
Yeah.
He could arguably be number one on my list.
Really?
Because
I did not expect that.
Because he's a solid one. He's always been one, and he's a guy that can play the one. He could actually start for you, and he could put Maxey to the wing. He can play with Paul George. I mean, he can play with different guys. He can play with Eric Gordon. So I think and we don't have that. Kyle's not there. Like we don't. Who's the backup point guard for Tyrese? Who's backup point guard?
Now?
Who's the point
right
guard
now,
that can play
McKinney.
beside him? Like, yes, that's what I'm saying. That's my point. They're not going to go into the season with a rookie. They're not going to do it. It's too much at stake. Now the rookie may earn that time, but they're not going to go into the season with that. So I would say Tyus, another wing 3-point shooter. Gary Trent would be a good one. And another wing that can, sort of do what Kelly does, like a Caleb Martin or even a Haywood Highsmith. Sort of do multiple things, play two-way guy. I like Lonnie Walker for what he did. For another wing, too. And then we got to think big. I mean, I said Miles Bridges would be number one with the size. I thought Precious Achiuwa was good for the Knicks. I just didn't think they played him enough.
Yeah.
But someone we still need. I think we still need a starting four. So maybe Paul Reed is that starter, or maybe Paul Reed is moved to get that starter. But I mean, as of right now, that's why I said Miles Bridges would be the top guy, because I think he can fill in as a starter. I think a lot of these other guys are filling as reserves.
Would it be your preference to get a 4 and put George at the 3, or go small, get a wing and put George at the 4 and just have 3 guys interchangeably?
I don't want to see Paul George as a full-time 4.
No,
and I don't want him to start at 4. I don't mind him playing 4, but I don't want to see him starting at 4. That's not what I envision. Does that mean now he has to guard Giannis, or he has to guard Paolo? Like that's, to me, that's not how I envision him. That may be how they envision him, but that's not how I envision Paul coming to play, a position he's never played before.
He played a fair amount of 4 for the Clippers last year. He had to, because they had so many, they were banged up.
But I didn't see that. I didn't see him playing the 4. He might have guarded some guys at the 4, but he wasn't playing offensively as a 4.
I don't think he loves it. I think he kind of vocalized it last year.
I don't see that being the case. I personally don't like that. Not even, I think it's a situational thing at best. And I mean, when I say situation, I mean in that particular game when you do that. I don't think this needs to be something that we go to every game.
Now it gets to Boston where they start Tatum at 4. That's a little more doable, right?
Yeah, but Tatum isn't technically the 4.
But I mean, Jaylen Brown,
Tatum. Jaylen. Yeah, I'm just saying. But the way they play, they don't play that way. But they also are younger guys that you can play that way and play that style, and they all kind of play multiple positions, and you have the talent that you have. That's why you can get away with that.
Yes.
But our team isn't built like that. Our team isn't built to spread the court, go one-on-one. Everybody's shooting threes. The bigs are shooting threes. Like, we have to play through our big. So it's different.
So for all the people out there
they don't play through their bigs.
That's true. That's very true. That's a key point that neither one of those teams have, and especially New York too. OG is probably their 4, right? If they go small ball with Randall at 5, but I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
For all the people that want Caleb Martin, if we got Martin, then we're probably looking at a 2, 3, and 4 being Oubre, Martin, and George, right? I don't think Martin would sign here to come off the bench. I don't think Oubre at this point is coming off the bench.
I mean, you can bring Kelly off the bench. You can bring Caleb Martin off the bench. I mean, you can do it. I mean, the issue is, what did you tell them to get him there? Get them there.
yeah.
And if that's in conflict from your conversation, that would be the issue. But if you say, hey, we don't know if you're going to start or be a reserve, if they've been upfront with that, that's where the Daryl Morey, what people say about him comes into play. We don't know.
You're not lying to me, Daryl, are you?
I heard some things. That's what I'm saying. We don't know what conversations are being made. We don't know
some things, Daryl.
We don't really know what Paul George was told. We don't know what Paul George was told outside of his contract.
Yeah. Well, when they saw him with the Irish shirt, they were like, "Shit, we can pull some stuff off on this today."
Yeah.
He's already got an Irish shirt on, man. We could mess around to that.
Nice.
I wonder if Daryl thought when he saw the Irish shirt, maybe we asked for a couple million less on that contract now. He's already pretty much saying he's signing with us. I mean, yeah, it's interesting because you can get a 4, slide everyone down a position, put someone else on the bench. It's tough because the strength of free agency right now is more of the wing, more of that 2-3, right? And a lot of people want Caleb Martin. A lot of people are talking about, Martin. There's just a couple of different ways to go, right? Because if you get rid of Reed and you waive him or trade him for a second or whatever, you open up that $9 million. Let's say you go after Martin, give him all that money, do the vet min with Rocco, Marcus Morris, Lowry. I mean, at that point, what are you doing? You starting, at least for the time being, you start Martin at 3, Paul George at 4, but tell them, hey, we're not done. This is just what it is right now. We're planning on making like a trade mid-season to get maybe a, I don't know, Finney Smith here or something. Because there's a lot of talk about KJ Martin and his contract and signing him to a balloon deal where you could trade him for, bring back more salary in season later on. There's a lot of weird stuff out there right now, but I think it really comes down to, do you use that $9 million on one player, or do you try to split it up with maybe 2 offers around 4 and 5? Because at this point, most offers are vet min out of teams because no one wants to go into the first 8.
I mean, you can. I would say you can split it up because if you can beat the vet minimum for guys, then you can get a couple guys out of that deal.
Now you probably got to wait for that, right?
Yeah, you may have to, can Paul be waived now, or does he have to be traded? Like, what is?
No, he can be waived because his contract's not guaranteed.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, we can split it up.
So I don't know this rule. I don't know this rule. I know what it used to be. If Paul is waived, can he be re-signed? And if so, when?
That's a good question. I don't know, actually. Yeah, I think he can be re-signed. Yeah, that's an interesting one because it's not like he was bought out. It was just a non-guaranteed contract that we didn't pick up the option on, right? So it is a little different.
Yeah, so I mean, you could technically
bring him back.
Paul could be one of those guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or someone else.
Yeah. And the $4 and $5 million split up thing I wanted to ask you about this too, because it seems like in the NBA, I think we talked about this last year even, but it seems like it's getting worse every year. Like the middle class of the NBA is like shrinking, and all the money's going to the top or vet min, or use your MLE on somebody. Like there's the whole like $12 to $18 million deal stuff's like gone. It's either like max or
that's where when we first put in the mid-level exception, I Bleav The first year, I Bleav it was like 2-something million. I remember guys were signed in the first year was like 6 years, 18 million or something like that. So I think the first year was like $2 million. Now the first year is like 13 million. So that's why it's called the mid-level exception, because it was supposed to be keep the middle of the league contracts active. So you wouldn't get this high guys, minimum guys.
Yeah.
Then the veterans minimum. That's how the veterans minimum came in. So a team wouldn't be in a situation where they could pay a guy that had zero experience the same amount that you would pay a guy with 12 years. Then why keep the guy with 12 years? I'm gonna just develop this guy. They both, especially if both guys aren't playing. Well, that's when the veteran minimum, the veterans got more, but then you was like, okay, well, you had to make an exception so teams aren't held accountable for paying more for the vet. So that deal had to be worked in to kind of average it out based on how many years you did. So these were things that were done to kind of address what you're asking. And this was 20-some years ago. But as you can see,
it's not working.
It's not that it's not working. It's just that at the end of the day, people that run these teams, their main objective is the top guys. These agents, most of their main objective is the top guys. But you want the top guys getting as much as they can get, because that's what is supposed to pull other guys' salaries up.
Yeah.
But you'll see it a little more like once guys sign. The issue is what they have now and what they didn't have before are these first and second aprons. That didn't exist. That's what I think was really capping guys. It's almost like a hard cap.
Yeah.
Not almost like, but it is a hard cap. So it's like
it's restricting you.
You're able. It's operating like it's not a hard cap because you're able to go over it. But teams.
But there are restrictions. There are restrictions.
That's what I'm saying. Then you get less and you can do less and you get less. So it's almost operating like a hard cap. And that's when you get into them hard caps, that's when you kind of push the middle guy down closer to the minimum and away from the top guys. So that's going to have to be a rookie contract. That's going to have.
Go ahead.
That's the rookie contracts and the apron is going to have to be addressed, because I Bleav the next negotiation between players in the league, that's going to be an issue. But that has to be pushed from the players and the agents.
Yes.
They have to push for that. So if players don't push for that, because there's a lot more guys in the middle and in the bottom than it is up top.
I know.
So if they don't push for that, so you have to get guys in the union that understand, yes, we want our big guys to make as much as they can, but you have to have some things in place to address the middle of the pack. Because if you're having a mid-level exception with 13 million and no one's signing it, what difference does it make?
Yeah, well, because now like they're trying to get guys that should be worth more in the market, accepting that mid-level because that's the best deal that's the best deal out there at this point.
That's the deal that people are getting, and then what they're gonna start doing is they're gonna start splitting that up.
Yeah,
because that's the best deal that people can get.
I mean, think about that.
So you're gonna start getting two people for the mid-level exception instead of one.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have 9 million left. And we're going to be able to outbid teams like most of the league with 2 contracts at 4 and 5. Like, that's crazy. But because the rookie contracts are locked in, right? Like McCain's making 4 guaranteed. When the moment he gets drafted, he's going to make 4 because of his draft pick. He's making more than vet min. So you have rookies in the mid first round making more than vet min. And then you have the mid-level exception, which kind of gets grouped to that, other guys that are better than that have to accept because there's just no more money anywhere else.
I mean,
no more
but first round picks, and I believe first round picks and vet minimums are exceptions to the aprons. I believe I read that. Meaning, like a first round pick is slotted to his slot.
I know for sure
the vet minimum is slotted to that minimum. Yes. So they're slotted to that spot. So
you have to,
So you have to fill in those roster spots, and you just may have to fill them in at those particular rates.
Yeah.
But you can fill in your roster spot.
I don't know about rookie, but definitely vet min. Because you don't have to have rookie.
I believe first round picks, not any rookie, just first round picks. You're slotted into your slot, whatever your salary range is for your salary, your pick, and it's just like it's looked at just like a vet minimum. That's why a lot of people don't really want to use their first round picks all the time, because they have to they're put in there. Excuse me. That's why some teams also aren't necessarily against it, because you still are slotted. They're slotted just like a vet minimum contract.
Another thing is too that's hurting, however you want to look at this, is the fact that teams can overpay for their talent. It's a means to keep their talent in house and not them to go somewhere else. They're giving them more money than the LAs, the New Yorks of the world. So guys stay. It also kind of puts them into a hole to a certain degree to give them that kind of money, because then, like, in 2 years, they don't have money to spend anymore, and they're hamstrung because they signed. Like, I look at Wagner's contract, 5 years, $220 million. Like, I mean, I'm not going to criticize the move, because they're hoping he ascends to a place where, that's how good he is. But that's a lot of money to be paying for we hope, rather than you are, right? And we're paying George.
I think his contract is very normal compared to what other guys got.
Yeah, it is a norm. It's a norm in the NBA.
I'm saying they don't. That's what I'm saying. They don't pay anyone else. They haven't paid anyone else on their team like that. And he has a contract that's equivalent to. I mean, Memphis, third player got that? Third best player.
Yeah. That is true.
Right?
Yeah. You're talking about Bane, right?
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So I didn't look at that and be like, wow, I can't believe that. I looked at that and said, that seems to be the going rate for a guy that's top one or two.
No, I know. Yeah. I'm not surprised when I see it, but it's like, man, yeah. I mean, that's why
you're a top three guy on your team, and you're a top three guy on your team, and you're young, and like that's what they're getting. That's what they're getting.
Yeah. The Maxis of the world are more aware, because Maxi's already proven that he's worth that. He's already done it. He's already an all-star. So paying him is easy. It's like, man, you're already we'd love you to get better, but if you just stay around what you're doing now, you're good to go.
It's different ways you look at it, because most people can say the Sixers got lucky because because they're not able to pay Maxey more.
Yes.
If he would have been all NBA, you would have had to pay him more.
A lot more, yeah. And if Wagner
got off
next year, they got to pay him like 50 more million.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So you could still be paying them more.
Yeah.
So I don't see it as the other guy being overpaid. I see as Maxey right now, based on what he's done, being underpaid.
I think he's underpaid. Yeah. Based on the market.
Based on the market, yes.
Oh,
yes.
Totally. Oh, he's a bargain. Yes. And the fact that he didn't take, everyone was surprised. Were you surprised too that he didn't take a player option or a trade clause? A lot of people were surprised by that. They didn't. Rich Paul didn't ask for a player option or a no trade clause.
I mean, I'm surprised it's not in there, but if he's happy with it, I mean, he may just, it may not be a big deal to him.
Yeah.
You know, he may be an extension guy, so he may never be a free agent again. You don't know.
Plus, he's looking at this going, man, Paul George, Embiid, I'm good for a while, man. Just like, pay me the money. I'm good for. I'm good. Like, we're good to go.
Plus, he was probably a guy that didn't even really envision himself being here right now. So you never know.
Yeah. As far as signing players, by the way, since I never really answered that, we can get Bridges for that contract, giving him the $9 million. All for it. He'd be a perfect fit right now for what we need on this team. I don't think that's going to happen. It's not realistic, but I never say never because we have Paul George right now. So I never.
So as far as Miles Bridges, does he have a 1-year tender offer, or do they not do that with him?
No, Charlotte could re-sign him, even though I think they're over the cap already, but they had bird rights on him, so they could re-sign him. But I thought they were already kind of out on him. They already kind of said they want to move on or whatever. So
I've read I think I saw a report a couple days ago saying they're interested in bringing him back, but that was a couple days ago.
So yeah, they could do that, especially if it's like a good deal for them. Now let me ask you. So I had this written down in my notes. Right now, if you're a player, because there's a lot more money next year. Apparently, there's going to be a lot more teams with a lot more money out there available. I mean, we're a pretty attractive place to go to, right? I mean, you won't have as many shots because of the guys we have are so ball hungry, and Joel, Paul George, Maxey. But let's not deny the fact that between Paul George and Embiid, they might miss a lot of games. Okay, I'm going to be real about it. They might miss a lot of games, right? And if you're a guy who's taking less than what you are worth, like let's just say Bridges, for instance, Philly's pretty attractive. You'll start, you'll play a lot of minutes because we only have like 7 players on our freaking roster right now. So you're going to play a lot. And you're going to play a lot of minutes when one of our top guys are out. And you sign a 1-year deal, you could ask for a lot more money next year. So the opportunity is there. You can contend. And the playing time will be there. So we're pretty attractive, right? For a guy right now who might accept less than what he's worth.
Yeah, I would say that's attractive. But the only but I have to that is some guys, if they take 1-year deals, they want to be in a situation where they know they can get numbers. So 2 ways to look at it. Do I go where I know my numbers are going to drop, probably, but we're going to win? Or do I go where I got a chance to compete a little bit, maybe not at the Philly level, but my numbers won't drop? So how's he going to be viewed in the next free agency if you averaging 19, 20, then you go to Philly and you average 14, 15.
Yeah.
Even though you won.
But look at Oubre.
I'm talking about the business standpoint, right? The business standpoint. Now, Oubre's numbers went down, and I mean he took a 1-year deal here.
Well, yeah, technically a 2-year deal, but I think that's just because they're going to re-sign him next year for more money.
I'm just saying, but he didn't get that big deal that we talk about. Come here.
He signed pretty quickly, though. They were saying his market was really good, though.
No, what I'm saying is he didn't come here and get that big deal that we're talking about. Come here, play for 1 year, then you can get that big deal.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't get a blow-up deal, but he got $7 more million than he got last year. I mean, it is a 4-time pay raise. It's pretty good, 5-time pay raise. It's not, but we're saying that those kind of contracts don't get offered anyway anymore, right? The 10 to 15 to $20 million are rare.
I understand that, but if you can't come here and, from my perspective, from a Miles Bridges, if you can't come here and get a 3-year at minimum mid-level deal, then
yeah,
guys are going where the numbers are. They're going where they can get numbers, because you wouldn't be in this situation if you get numbers. So I'm just saying, in my opinion, I think guys are getting numbers. They're going to go to accomplish that. Because if the team doesn't pan out, that's going to impact everybody, no matter what your numbers are. When teams have expectations to win.
I agree. But the problem is, like, not problem. The thing is, money's dried up everywhere, and we have kind of the most money free, not most, but amongst the most money, free money to spend, and we don't have we have a lot of playing time. We have a lot of minutes available. So
yeah, I mean, I still think he can be signed and traded somewhere. It just kind of depends on where. I just think for Miles' sake, with everything that happened, Philly, the Northeast, New York, Philly are usually a more kind of forgiving area for things for you to kind of move on to later in your career.
Forgive and forget.
Not. I didn't say forgetting. I said more forgiving when you come here and compete than some other places.
Yeah,
because some people just can't seem to move on from, when a guy is kind of did his time or served his time, that public opinion still want to hold them to it for the rest of their life, I guess.
Yeah. So the dream would be Bridges. I'd see why they go for Martin, because they're, at least for now, go with that. Oubre, Martin, and George will have a lot of switchability between them. They can guard most positions on the court. But all three have turned into pretty good defenders. And then they would, in that regard, I would expect them to make a trade in midseason for like a more traditional four. If they're going to split it up, I look at Highsmith. I like Highsmith a lot. He had a really good season last year. He shot like 39% from three. He guarded the four. He guarded the three. He's an undersized four, but he did a good job guarding it. He guarded the three. He can switch himself. So I'd see why they do that and maybe split the salaries up. But there's a lot of different ways they can go with it. I wouldn't expect them to make a move really quickly unless like a Bridges was like, fine, I'll sign 1 year, $9 million. But I don't think that's going to happen. I expect this to be a little while because they're going to wait for the dust to settle on free agency.
I mean, you'll see. You got Summer League coming up, so you'll see some moves during Summer League or right after Summer League. I think a lot of people are usually wait and meet around that time, and you'll see some more deals come out of that.
Yeah, we signed Oubre really late last year.
Yeah, I think you'll see some deals out of Summer League before everybody start going on vacation in August.
Yeah. The Drew Holiday stuff happened late in the offseason. So, I mean, it's probably best to kind of hold tight for a little bit.
That because the Dane stuff happened late. So,
yeah.
But
you also have to reassess too, right, Eric? Because, I mean, when free agency opens, the moratorium starts, it's all about get the most money.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I think when guys, a lot of these guys that have minimum options, they usually have multiple minimum options.
Yes.
So if guys have the minimum, option, there's no need to rush.
Yeah.
They'll probably give you a certain date, and then you kind of figure out what's best. So you probably have a lot of that going on right now.
And you get to see who did what.
Yeah, so you got to see sort of the key targets and let those key targets kind of pick their places, and then it'll start. Then you'll see the rush after that. Like, okay, I got to take this deal. Like, okay, if you don't take this deal, we'll give you 3 days. We're gonna have to go in a different direction. But right now, people can't kind of do that because there's so many different options out there.
Yeah. So it's like a reevaluation period because now it's like, well, I've seen where all the main guys have gone. Do I want to go here for 3, here for 4.5, here for 2? It's like now you have to really pick your spots really well. It's less about money, more about like almost situation at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. But based on the Tyus Jones interest that you had, Eric, as far as a guy you'd want, Brett Siegel of Hoops Hype said the Sixers are an interesting team. They have an interest in Tyus Jones and have had interest in him for the last year or so. So interesting team as far as possible sign and trade with Tyus Jones. So there's a possibility there. Last topic, more of a kind of a funny one, just show how funny Sixers fans are. It's been kind of a divisive topic over the last week on social media of of reports that the Nets, with no interest in Ben Simmons as far as a trade, there could be a potential buyout of Ben Simmons. So you've had kind of a mixed bag with Sixers fans. Half Sixers fans are saying to bring Ben Simmons back on a vet min if he's bought out. Then you have other half saying we're done with Ben Simmons. There's no reunion. No one wants a reunion with Ben Simmons. So it's kind of split on that. Just question to you guys. I know we've talked about Ben Simmons before, but where are you guys standing on a potential Ben Simmons Sixers reunion if he is bought out on a vet min deal?
My issue has been just him being active and being able to play. I mean, if he's able to play, I mean, he can be on your team. But if he's not going to play, then it's just a circus. So he has to play if that's the case. And if he comes back, I don't have an issue with it. I just think it has to be a situation because of the history that it can't be him on the roster and him not playing. That just can't happen.
I'm totally open to it. I've been critical of Ben in the past. I've also been very complimentary. I still defend Ben as far as defense goes, even though with the back issues, we don't know where he's at, right? We don't know, that back keeps flaring up, and that's tough to get out there and guard when you're 6'10", guard like 6'3" point guards all the time if your back's flaring up. So we don't know where he is as far as that goes. I think it would be a great situation for him. I think his skill set's something we can definitely use. Versatile defense, playmaking, assists. He's not at this point, just to get his back right, I don't think he's a 30-minute plus a game guy right now anyway. You just want to get him on the court and playing again. 18 to 22 minutes a game, getting him right again, getting him in the system, getting him comfortable. I think it would be great. I'm not against it at all. I don't see why anyone would at this point. All that stuff sailed, man. Like that stuff's gone. Like, people who think like grudges are still held. Embiid still calls him the one that got away. Ben still says the one place he'd go to would be Philly. So I think now that stuff's gone. I mean, yeah, he did sue them, so there is that. But I mean, I think if you're talking about a guy coming back for a vet min, if he gets bought out, I don't think there's much risk there. I just don't think there is. I mean, if he doesn't play, you want, obviously that's the goal.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't that's what I'm saying from a contract standpoint. I don't see the issue. The issue is him, whether he's going to be playing and
available.
Because if he's not, that's just negative vibe. It's just a negative vibe. So that's my concern. That's my only concern. And because that you're talking about a guy that's on the vet minimum that will control a lot of the narratives and what people will talk about. So it's just not going to work. You're just going to end up moving from him anyway. So he got to show that he's back on the court, I think, for it to happen.
Yeah.
So if you can make a move and he becomes available, I think he has to show that he's playing. And that's something he hasn't consistently done since he's left Philly.
Yeah, I thought we had to talk about that just because there's been such a big uproar on Sixers Twitter this past week about the potential of Ben Simmons becoming available. But guys, that does it for us. We'll see you guys next Friday. And between now and then, and we'll have Sixers Summer League games to discuss. Next Friday's show, Monday, July 8th, Tuesday, July 9th, Wednesday, July 10th. The Sixers will be playing in Salt Lake City. And then July 13th, which is next weekend, to the July 20th. Sixers will be in Las Vegas for that Summer League. So basketball is here. It's exciting times, guys. Well, we hope you guys have a good weekend, and we'll see you guys next week. See you guys.
Later, guys.
All right, bye-bye.